right, good morning. Welcome to the shop. Unexpected day off today, so we're going to take advantage of it and do a little work in the shop. We run into a little parts issue at work, so they give us the day off today. So we're going to work on the oiler part of the lathe. I heard about it. We got our phone call last night, and so I thought I'd run out here this morning really quick and stick those parts in the parts washer. It has that brass screen that's on the back end of that filter. So I don't know how the purple power will react to that. So I didn't want it to soak it too long. They weren't that bad grimy, but I wanted to, check it. Didn't want it to soak a long time. We could go through it today and see how it is. Still don't know how it works exactly, so we're going to take it apart and just have a look at it. I did a little research online, but couldn't really find anything on it, so take it apart and see how it works. I'm pretty sure the oil passes through the back side of the screen or sucks in through the screen and then goes back out into the oil, into the headstock. Jeez, it's early. But I finally broke down and got a GoPro, or not a GoPro, but a action camera would be a better word. It's the Akaso 4K. I'm filming in 2.7 right now at 30 frames just to see how that goes. And if, once the lighting gets better in here, then we'll stick it on 4K and just see. I don't think there's enough light quite in here to get 4K out of it without it being grainy and laggy and all that. But we'll try 2.7. If it doesn't work, then, oh well. It was an effort worth trying. But I have the parts in the parts washer, so we're going to get that stuff out. So I'll just move around the cameras and stuff like that. We'll just mix in the cameras and see how it looks. The good thing that came with this is it came with a little remote, so you can turn it on and off, which is pretty nice. I use GoPros at work to do some filming, and we stuck it on trucks with magnet mounts and stuff like that, and it works really, really well. But it's a GoPro, so I don't know if I'm going to like it here or not, but we're going to try it and see. I really like the portableness of it. I took an old indicator base I'm glad I didn't throw away, and it was able to mount right to it. So you can stick it on anything metal, and everything around here is metal, so it might come in handy. I think I'm going to like it, but we'll see. So let's walk over here to the parts washer, and we'll give it a shot. We'll see what everything looks like. Okay, so we're back here at the parts washer, and let's take a look at this stuff. I'm going to turn down the scanner here a little bit. So these have been soaking in here, I don't know, a couple hours now. So, oh, they look good too. Wow. They look really good. So these are it's the pump housing and the filter housing. So they look really, really good. So, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully this action camera is working pretty good. We'll find out. So let me move this over here. Shut this lid back down. And then we'll move over here to this one. Take a look at it. All right, so we have our pieces here. This is the pump housing. Golly. It cleaned that thing up really good. Really, really good. I'm super happy with that. Lay that there. Man, I'll tell you what. If y'all haven't tried Purple Power for a cleaner, you should really try it. Look at that. All the old paint coming right off. So let me dip it in here. I have a bucket of water here. Get all that Purple Power off anyway. Look at that. Just that little bit of paint right there is all that's left. And it might come right off. Yeah, it comes right off. Let me grab a littler brush. That's just water in that bucket, so. No, I'm super happy with that. That looks really good. Really, really good. All that's left is the old paint, and it's pretty much coming off with my finger. So, yeah, I'm super happy with that. Look at that. Comes right off. So we're going to take this apart because I really don't know how it works. The oil's got to go in it here in here somehow and then get drawn through and pushed back out here. I don't know. We're going to take it apart and see. No, it can't go like that. Got to get in here and drawn out here, but I don't know where it goes from there. I have to go look at the lathe and see how that works. I know you're supposed to scrape this off to clean it, but that looks like some kind of port to, like you empty all the schmoo out of there. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll get online and figure out a little bit better. But we're going to take it apart anyway. I want to sandblast it and get it ready. Of course, that one really doesn't need sandblasting. That looks really, really good. Probably do it anyway, but geez, even the inside got really clean. And this is where the impeller sits. The bearing, and it sits like this. There's a ball bearing that goes in here with a spring that goes down in the housing, and then it mounts in there like that. So, and the gear on there turns this. It looks, I mean, look how clean that stuff come out. Wow. And then here's the two nasty plugs. Well, they're not so nasty anymore. It looks good. Anyway, let's clean all this off, get the purple power off of it, get it over to the big workbench, and take a look at it. But I'm thoroughly happy with how it looks. We'll definitely get that apart and cleaned up. And I'm probably going to sandblast it since it's so small. Just might as well knock it out right quick. Make sure there's nothing in there that I can hurt. And then we'll get it cleaned up. So let's go over to the workbench. All right. So we're back at the bench. And we're going to see what we need to do to take this stuff apart. Let's see. Here's that. That thing looks really, really good. I know it's hard to see up there, but hopefully this GoPro's getting it. Keep on saying GoPro. You know what I mean. Action camera. And it's really clean on the inside. So, I can't believe how good this one looks. Maybe that small oil leak that was on the back of it really helped it out. Look at that. That's ridiculous how clean that is. So that's that. The plugs come out looking really, really good. Almost all the paint came off that. It looks like some pipe dope there, so might be some pipe dope on that. The impeller thing, or the pump housing, pump gear, however you want to call it. Nice. Looks really, really good. No scuffing on the brass. And it feels really, really tight on there. That's, you make stuff good like they did back in the day and it lasts. 75 years old. Haven't fired it up, so you never know. It might be something major wrong with it. This goes on here like so. Spins like a champ. Of course, we'll oil that, put some lubricating oil on all that stuff. This is what I want to see here. How does this sucker come apart? So let's go grab a couple 1/2-inch wrenches. We got us a couple wrenches here. See how hard this is going to be to come apart. Well, that went fairly easy. So we're going to lay all this stuff out, top to bottom here. In the order that it goes back together. There's that daggone grease smell again. I don't know what they used back in the day, but it is some stinky crap. So, now how does this come? Well, all right, there's a hole in there. So, evidently, that's not how I thought that worked. Well, it could. Just drain out a little oil. Oil goes in from the filter here, through here, gets pumped back out here, and out of one of these exhaust ports, I take it. So this probably just grabs all the schmoo, and then you just scrape it off and drain it out with waste. So it's not really a filter as I would think it would be. but evidently worked. It didn't leak either. I wonder what's up in there. Brass bushing up in here on the stem. So let's take a look at that. Since it had water in it, I'm kind of, no, it looks really good. Since the lathe headstock had water in it, I was making sure this wasn't rusted or pitted. No, we'll just take a fine piece of emery and glow over that. I wonder if you can take this thing apart anymore. There's a cotter key right there, so let's grab a small screwdriver and take that off. All right. Definitely don't want to break it, so. So we'll get the flashlight out and take a look down in there. We'll get an air nozzle and blow that out. We'll go ahead and sandblast all these parts up and get them ready to put back together. Run that edge on the, or rub this face on the India stone and get it real cleaned up. Tore the gaskets, so definitely going to have to remake the gaskets, but I bought some gasket material. So let's get this parts cleaned up. I'm going to have a better look at this, how this filter is. It doesn't look like it's wore out by any means, but I don't know exactly how it works. Anyway, we'll come back. All right. Went over to the old Chinese Harbor Freight and mounted her up and just run a Scotch-Brite pad against the shaft here, and it looks really good. So we're going to call it good. So let me get me some lubricating oil right quick and my little brush. My Melissa and Doug's handy little container here. I'm gonna preach about it, but I love them things. So there's not much in there, but we're gonna go ahead and put her in there like it's supposed to go. So, you know, I think we're just going to buff that up. I don't think we're going to repaint it. I don't want to do anything else to that. I think we're just going to leave that the way it is. It's clean on the inside. We'll just take the, I think we're going to set up the Harbor Freight buffer and just polish this up. It's just a stamped steel. It's got some, no, it's just stamped steel. And we'll just clean that up. I don't see no need to paint that. We're going to go ahead over here to the sandblaster and knock this out right quick. And then we'll take the India stone and clean this up. And we might put it back in the parts washer just to get any of the dirt and stuff off of there. It does say perlator on the end of it. Huh. Might do a little cross-reference there. That's something else. Got Purelator 25568. So we'll look that up. I've seen some mentions of a perlator filter, so we'll get that, definitely get that all cleaned up, and we'll go ahead and paint this and get it ready. It's got a bushing or something here. Kind of hard to read. Gaylord or Taylor, I don't know. Anyway, we'll clean it up. Might clean this up first with a bit of Scotch-Brite, and then we'll put a piece of tape over that to protect that end. I don't know if that's aluminum or steel, or it's definitely different from the cast iron, and I want to protect a little bit. So we'll clean that up first, and then we're going to tape that off with some masking or some painter's tape, and then we'll sandblast it. At least the sand will bounce off that stuff a little bit, protect it a little bit. So we'll do that. So we'll be back. You know, I really don't know if I've ever shown this before. This is my inexpensive Harbor Freight sandblaster. I picked it up on one of those, you know, parking lot sales or whatever. I don't even think it was $100. Couldn't even remember. But when I got it home, its performance was lacking. Let's say lacking. That'd be a good word. So, a couple upgrades I did to it. Of course, I wired in a box here so I can turn my light on, and I usually have a vacuum cleaner hooked to it so you can turn the vacuum on to keep the dust picked up from in there. So those are hooked up and wired in there. I always keep a old blanket on the plastic lens here. I didn't want to get it all messed up from, we grind and everything else on this table. So my future plans are, I think I'm just going to get a piece of glass and put in there, a piece of tempered glass, like the glass shop's just down the road. When this one gets too bad where I can't see through it, I'll either get a piece of plexiglass. I have plenty of that in the back of the shop. But I think I'm going to just get regular glass and put in there. Might even put laminate glass in there, laminate safety glass, just in case, you hit it when you're going in with something. I don't worry about it breaking using it unless you, tap on it. But for safety, tempered glass for sure, not plate. And, I put a LED light in it instead of the cheap light or inexpensive light that came with it. And I also did an upgrade to the pickup tube. The problem with these things, it seems like it tries to suck the stuff in, or tries to suck in the media too fast, and it's not able to push it back out. So it needs some way to get some air in there. And I've seen people, they put air hose at the bottom of it, and they just push a little bit of air in with it, like run a T so your media is coming through one side and a little bit of air is coming through the other side, and then it goes up into the pickup tube. And you can adjust the amount of air to it. And I've seen where people were doing it just with atmospheric air. They would run another, like a vent tube up somewhere. Well, what I decided to do, I had plenty of copper pipe. So I'm going to grab the little action camera here. And on the inside of the cabinet, you can see that's the pickup tube. So it has 1/2-inch copper pipe that runs down into the bottom into a T. It's a 1/2 by 1/2 by 3/4 T. And then from there, it runs up the other side to a piece of hose that's hooked to just a hose bib. So an outside hose bib. And this outside hose bib, you can control it, and it controls the atmospheric air that goes into it. So as it's wanting to suck up air into the vent tube or into the pickup tube, it's also drawing in just regular shop air. So you can adjust this, however much you want it. It doesn't take much. It really surprised me how little it takes. So it draws in atmospheric air with the media, and it keeps it from all that pulsing. So the pulsing that it does when it just does nothing, a lot, nothing, a lot. So it quits all that. So it's worked very well. So let me set this camera up here, or try to anyway, and see if we can't get a shot lined up down in here. About like that. Alrighty, so where's our parts at? So here's our part that we want to do. I have my shop air turned on. Oh, and another thing, I don't know if you can see this. This right here is just a regular old toilet paper filter. I get mine on Amazon, and any place that's got these, any place that needs moisture-free air, I mount these. This is just a 1/2-inch filtering material, and it really gets the moisture out of it. And one thing sandblasters don't like is moisture. It'll clog up a tip quicker than anything will. So these are inexpensive. I mean, less than $100. I think for the 1/2-inch models, because I want all the air volume I got. It doesn't take a lot of pressure, but you need the volume. So I think I'm only running 40 pounds into the sandblaster, but it's all through 1/2-inch pipe. There's no restrictions in it anywhere. It's everything's just sized appropriately for this sandblaster. You need air volume. You don't need air pressure. A lot of places mess up and they turn up the pressure, which will give you more volume, but you take the chance of ruining your stuff too. So if you have a tool that needs large volumes of air, whether it be an impact gun or something like that, you always use big air hose. You don't want it to starve for air. So anyway, I'm preaching. But anyway, so we got that running to a good regulator, run over to the the sandblaster. So we'll put this part in here. Hopefully you can see this, because it works really, really good. So I get my big hands. The only thing I need to do is get, you know, gloves, man-sized gloves. So hopefully this is recording pretty good that I can see here. And that's just 40 pounds of air is all that is. It's not a lot of air. And it's cleaning it very well. So I hope this camera's capturing this. So. And I'm just keeping my thumb. I was going to tape it off, but I'm just keeping my thumb over that part. Oh, the heck with it. We'll go ahead and sandblast it. And that's it. Nothing to it. Cleans it up lickety split. Looks very, very good. Got a little bit right there. And I just use regular garnet that you can buy. I buy mine from Tractor Supply. It's very inexpensive. $8 a bag. And then every once in a while I'll run it through a sieve and clean it out. But that's all that takes. That's ready to go. So let's get that out of there and take a better look at it. The only thing you got to worry about these Harbor Freight cabinets is when you're sandblasting, the door has little holes in it from where they formed it. And it stores all the media in it. And when you open the door, it just falls out. So I usually aim the gun at the door and it takes care of it. So, oh yeah, it looks really good. It looks really, really good. And it does say perolator on it, 25568. So I think we're going to stick that back in the parts washer and get all the crap cleaned off of it. It looks like a little bit of the media is up in the threads here, so we'll soak that again. We'll probably go ahead and do that to the other part too. No, it looks pretty good. So we'll do that, and I think we're going to set that Harbor Freight buffer up and go ahead and buff up these parts. I need to do a bunch of buffing on the taper attachment and stuff like that, so it might be a good time to do it. So let me stick this back into the parts washer, and then we'll see what it looks like after it comes back out, and we'll put this thing back together. Or I'm sorry, we're going to make the gaskets, and then we'll put that thing back on the lathe and see how it does, or not see how it does, see how it fits and how it looks. So we'll get there. We'll be back. All right. So we got the Harbor Freight buffer set up. Nothing to it. You know, it all came assembled. Just had to put it together. I mean, put it together. Just had to take the styrofoam off of it and put the wheels on it. Got a Scotch-Brite pad wheel mounted up in the other one, and just a cheap buffer pad that came in the other one, mainly so I wouldn't lose all the nuts and stuff from it. So we got the action camera set up. Hopefully got it pointed in the direction we need. So I've never used a Scotch-Brite wheel, so what we're going to do is we're going to try it out on that handle right here. I'm not going to paint this. It's we're just going to clean it up. Hopefully this takes up all the residual stuff, get it looking halfway decent, I'm going to be happy. So anyway, see how this goes. Of course, put your safety glasses on. Tighten down this clamp just a hair. This is why I wanted to get that other bench mounted, so I can mount all this stuff on it. I want to put a vise on it and at least put this this buffer on it and the other wire wheel. I'd like to put all that on it. So just so I wouldn't have to keep on moving it back and forth. So anyway, let's get to it. Wow, does pretty good comparing sides anyway. That's pretty good. I should have got one of these wheels years ago, but didn't know about it, so you know, it works really, really good. That shined that piece right up. I'm happy with that. I mean, it's just the handle to turn the oil knob, but it really looks good. So we'll call that a success too. So let's keep on moving on then. So what's next? I reckon we'll put it back together and get it back on the lathe. Oh, got to make the gaskets. We'll get to that. Let me reset the cameras up and we'll be back. All right, we're back. I went to the auto parts store last week and I got some of this just gasket material for oil made by Felpro. I've made gaskets before in the past and it always worked really, really well. I'm gonna switch glasses to some better reading glasses. And all I do is trace it out. Yeah, trace out this outline here. Of course, we have one straight line. Might as well use two straight lines. Save me from having to cut it. So, what I normally do is I'll lay it like that, and you know, you just trace it and then you cut it. And then what I do also is I'll take my transfer punch set and I'll transfer the center of the hole, you know, the appropriate size, whichever it is, and then take a drill bit and drill it out. I don't have a punch set. Come on. Figures probably not the one I need anyway, so we'll go up one size. Or I lied, it was the one I needed. Come on out of there. Look at there. Won't you know it? Jeez. Anyway. That's too big anyway. Well, daggone. You know, that's probably the 1/4 inch, and that's the one I needed. It is. That's the way it goes. Take a hammer. And punch all your centers. and then you have a good mark to go by. Then you just take a pair of scissors and cut it out. So fairly easy. Of course, if you can't see or cut straight, like me, there we go. So that's that part. And then I'll, scribe out the outside line there. Of course, I do have the old gasket for this one. So let me grab it right quick, or part of it anyway. At least I know what to, no, it has a square hole in it. I'm glad I did that. So, like this right here, we'll mark this on. We'll cut that out also. And then at least I'll get my radius shape halfway for this size, and I'll go get my dividers from the wood shop, and we'll finish running that out, and I'll cut that out too. So, and then this round one, of course, pretty straightforward. Anybody can do that. Then this one, might use a different technique on this one if I can remember. Where's my oil at? Right here. I'm going to brush a little bit of oil. I keep on doing this out of this camera. I'm going to brush a little oil on this part right here. And then I'm going to lay it down on this corner. Right there. Then I'm going to mark it out with the pencil. And I'm also going to transfer all these marks. But I'm trying not to slide this thing, so. Alright, boop. And there's my mark from my inside that the oil transferred over. So we'll cut this bad boy out. It doesn't have to be exact. But, the better it looks, I reckon. So we'll take our time and get it right. Come on, out of there. This stuff's inexpensive. It was, I think, $4 for that roll, which, there's probably a couple of rolls laying around here. I just don't remember where they're at. So. And then we'll grab a utility knife and cut that inside part out. Let me go ahead and mark it though. In case the oil wants to dry up or soak in or whatever it does. This part definitely doesn't have to be exact. I want to be outside of that line though. So let's see, where's my sharp knife? There it is. Or a knife, might not be sharp. Oh, it's definitely not sharp. So let me get another blade and I'll be back. All right. Nothing to this here. Just like coloring. I want to just stay just outside of that line though. Oops. All right, so we got our now. Trying to stay straight in this now. Anyway, so it goes on like this. That should work fine. So let's get started. There we go. There we go. So that's up in there now. And I'm probably just going to run a couple screws on there just to hold the part in. There we go. And but I don't want to paint these nuts, so you know what? Let's just paint it off of there, and then we'll put it back on there later on. I think I'm gonna leave it off and paint it. So let's do that. We can change our mind. Come on, there we go. Burst thread in there. So we're going to get out the paint and we're going to paint these things. So I think we'll call it quits for there. So we got that part of it done anyway. I'll get these painted up and let them dry overnight, and tomorrow we'll finish this video up and we'll install these parts back on the lathe. So until tomorrow then, we'll be back. All right, good morning. It's the next morning anyway. What is it? Today's Saturday. Jeez. I got the two covers painted. They look very, very good. Sandblasting and having a really, really clean surface helped a lot. Found some writing on the oil pump cover. It's the Tut Hill Pump Company from Chicago, Illinois. The cover's very nice. It came out very, very well. So we've got it ready to go back on, and we've reassembled the pump, or the filter assembly, the Purolator number 25568, which I still haven't found any information on the internet. So the only thing I know is that it circulates oil, it scrapes in here. You open it every once in a while and drain the stuff out. That's the only thing I can figure. Who knows? Maybe somebody can chime in and let me know how these things work, or where I can get some information from it. I've found some information. I think it said it was like a Kuno type scraping filter. And I've looked at some information of that, and I see the videos on how you scrape it, and it gets away from the filter, but how do you get it out of the machine? The port right here was the one I assumed that you got it out of, but it's on the upper side of the lathe. It sits like this, so this port is facing up. Unless you take this port out, it's facing down, or one of these two little ports, it can drain out that way. But I really have no idea. So I was hoping somebody might be able to chime in on it. Maybe I can ask around, somewhere. I don't have any old timers at work that have any old machinery. Most of the stuff we have, they update it pretty frequently, so I can't go look at that. The old timers out there are gone. So and the ones I know, unfortunately, have passed away that are local here. So I really like to know how it works. I kind of understood it when I seen the Kuno, like a 3M Kuno filter that was in a clear housing. It attracted to it along with it, circulating it through the housing, and then they just scraped it away. But then it just floated around into the housing. So does it, you got to get rid of it somewhere. I just don't understand how that part works. But anyway, we're going to put it back on today. I looked at the footage. It looks pretty good. So we're going to keep on using this little action camera and leave it at this setting. It really seems to work pretty good. It's a little difficult editing two cameras, that are synced together, but, a learning curve. It's been fun. So let me reset the camera up and, or get this one going and get some light back here so we can see and you can see and I can see. Oh, and one more thing. I don't have a small basket for the small parts, so I got an old tape container and went and scooped out some of the purple power and have been agitating all the nuts or the bolts, the shoulder bolts that hold this stuff on. So every once in a while I'll give it a swoosh around, and they're looking pretty good. So I don't know how to make a really, really small parts basket. I reckon I could make it out of screen wire, but I'd be afraid that it might disintegrate in there. So this is working pretty good though, I have to say. So just every once in a while, whoops, give it a shake. Don't spill it all over everything. And we'll do it that way. So let me get this stuff cleaned up, reset the lights up over here, and we'll get to putting this thing back on. All right, we're here at the lathe. What do I do with my gaskets? There they are. After I said I was going to drill these out with a drill bit, I said, what the heck, man, it's paper. Use a paper punch. So I went in the house and got the paper punch. So that's what I did. Let's see how good they line up, though. Oh, yeah, perfect. They line up perfect. So we're going to go ahead and put it on then. I went ahead and took some pictures and put it out there on Instagram. Maybe somebody can help a brother out here and figure out how this thing works. I've pretty much exhausted everywhere I can think of, so we'll put it out there and maybe somebody can help me. So I got the round gasket on. Alrighty. And then it takes a spring that goes down in the hole. Oh, I apologize. The pump goes down in the hole. Duh. Like so. No, I was right. I was right. Back up, George. Think through this. The spring goes down in the hole like so. So that spring, I don't know how good you can see it down in there, is down there, and the ball bearing fits inside that shaft right there. So we're going to put a little oil on here. All right. Let me get a drop of oil. This is just regular old 20 weight here. Uh-oh, my can might be empty. Come on, baby. 2 drops is all I need. There we go. And then it fills up, of course. So we got that. And then it'll go in here like such. There we go. And then it goes in here like so. Getting all this lined up now is the tricky part. You know what? Let's do this another way. Let's put the pump in there. All right, the pump's in there. I'm going to stick the bearing back in there. There we go. This might work out better. Come on, spring, center up. There we go. Spring is centered up. Oil's in it. Gaskets on it. I went and took make sure that was the long one. And got some, trying to figure out the way this one went. This way. Like such. What did I go get? Daggone it. Let's go that way. Double check my spring. I just feel weird about it. So, all right, here we go. Double check my spring. It's in there good. So, one more time. Speak now, forever hold your peace, right? Stay in there. All right, that's in. Go ahead and start a couple of these screws. I went and Scotch-Brited all these bolts. And I'm going to put them in here temporarily. I'm going to take them back out and put, just so I can hold everything in. And I'm definitely going to put some anti-seize on it, because you know me and anti-seize. So, might as well start with that one. I got my brush and my anti-seize, and it doesn't take but a dot. So, I mean, that's all we're putting on there. I just don't want it, you know, if we have to take it back apart, I want it to come apart. I hate seized up bolts and stuff. So, that one's good. And then we'll take this one apart. And we'll put a little dab on it right there. And like I said, it doesn't take much. So that's there. I was lucky, you know, the lathe, everything so far has come apart very, very easily. Very minimal effort anyway, put it that way. And I'd like to keep it that way. So we'll tighten all these up, or snug them up, I should say. Got to double check, look in some pictures and make sure I have this oriented the same way it came off. I'm pretty sure I do. I don't know that there's a drain in that area right there, so that's built into that cast piece, so just want to double check it. I don't see it. There wasn't any ports up here. There wasn't really any ports anywhere, but might have to get a socket for that one. But you get the point. We're just tightening all this stuff up. Should have got a socket for all these. Matter of fact, let's just grab one right quick. I got my drill gun right here. And a 7/16. So, whoops, sorry about that. All right. Before you say anything, you know, I use these guns every day at work. So, and that's only a 12-volt one, and I didn't pull it all the way snug, so you know, I always make sure I got it, everything started really, really good before I snug it all up. So that's good to go. So now we have these cap head screws, daggone it, socket cap screws. I'm going to put a little dab of anti-seize on those before we even start, so I don't have to back up. All right, and the oil pump and the oil pump filter. And we'll go ahead and get one in there. And, oops, install it the right way. Always helps. So, got my Allen wrench here. You got that camera just a wee bit close. So that's started. That one. So, yeah, I still don't know how this thing works. Weird. And I thought I could figure it out just by taking it apart, and not any closer now than I was. So, anyway. But we're one step closer to getting the lathe done, that's for sure. It looks good having parts bolted back on instead of taking stuff off. I edited this video and it's getting up into the 40-minute range, so we're going to leave this last part very, very short. Okay. All right, there you go. So we got that on there now. And these are the questions I have. This is the handle, it says, in the instructions it said turn it once a week. So, I turn it, but where does the waste go? Do you drain it out of these ports? Do you flush it out with this port? I'm at a loss. I know, I figured this was the drain since it was the big one, but I really don't know. Maybe you open this one and flush stuff through it, but you would think it'd go back into the, what do you call it? The headstock. So I'm not sure. But either way, one thing more done anyway. One thing done. So it looks good. It's working like it should, I assume, because I don't know how it works. It works just the same as it did when I got it. It's just prettier now. So anyway, so let's call it quits. Let's see, what's next? I reckon I could start putting the covers on the, put the belt cover back on. So I think that's what we're going to do. That'll be next week though. I'm running out of time this weekend. So y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. And until next time, see ya.